post our highly energized tea break, if I might say so, because there are a lot of animated discussions happening everywhere. Like I said, everything happens off the record with architects. So we had a lot of architectural and whatever, not really a free-for-all kind of a discussion, but yeah, a much more honest discussion happening at different corners. After that, we have to get back on to the order of the day, and our next presentation is by architect Pooran Kumar, who's going to do a presentation on the aspect of simplicity in design. It's not a discussion, it's not a presentation on his firm. Just to introduce Pooran, Pooran is the principal architect of the firm Pooran Kumar Architects and has an experience of 25 years in architecture and interior design. An IIT Roorkee alumni, Pooran completed his Bachelor of Architecture in '87 and set up his firm in '93 in Mumbai after gaining expertise in the corporate sector. He has designed various exclusive corporate offices as well as high-profile residential projects with intuitive methods of architectural design offering complete design solutions. He continues to expand his expertise while maintaining the simplicity of expression in his design, hence the topic, the aspect of simplicity in design. Pooran.
Hello, hello. Can I be heard? Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to keep this as simple as it's possible. I think we've heard varied views on a lot of subjects this morning, very, very informative. I think in this entire bundle of information and knowledge, we sometimes lose the basic essence of life in general. It's not just about design. What I'm going to speak about today is the aspect of simplicity in design. I am not going to just talk. I'm going to urge you to partake. I'm going to urge you to interact, have your views. There's some very, very experienced people out here, some very big names out here. I'd like you to come forward with your views on that. Okay. I was in Barcelona recently. The study of Antoni Gaudí is almost synonymous with Barcelona. Apart from the fact that the city is crazy about its football, its food and the fun, the city is almost synonymous with design. It eats design, drinks design, breathes design, it lives design. I'm just going to run through a few of the images of what Gaudí has done to that city. I'm sure a lot of people here know about Gaudí and Gaudí's works. Sagrada Familia, the structure that has gone on for 130 years in construction, 130 years in construction, and it continues for another 80 years possibly. That's the estimate today. Designed by Gaudí in the early part of 20th century, and today we are in the middle of 21st, and the saga continues. Parc Güell, it's a public park, and it was designed in the late 19th century, early 20th century, and it's got the feel of how you see it is. I'm not going to say much about these places. The pictures don't do justice to these structures or these designs by Gaudí, but for whatever it's worth. Then there are a couple of private residences designed for a couple of big families in Barcelona. Casa Mia, you can see the structure, Casa Batlló. These are the names of the families for whom the houses were designed. And then I went to the Picasso Museum, wanted to see some of art there, and something caught my fancy, something caught my eye. It says design is so simple, that is why it is so complicated. I just got stuck. I just got completely transfixated. It's by Paul Rand. I went in to search Paul Rand. I did not know much about Paul Rand till then. When I went to read about him, I realized that he is one of the most well-known 20th century American graphic designers who is responsible for designing what IBM is all about, what UPS is all about, what ABC is all about. He's designed their whole look and their entire feel. And such big brands have been designed single-handedly by Paul Rand. I must admit that I did not know anything about him till I actually saw this. This was being sold in a small souvenir shop as you come out of a museum, and it was there staring at me, telling me to pick it up. It was a small postcard, 6 inches by 4 inches. Among a couple of others, which are very interesting ones, like I'm not on Facebook, I picked this also up. Design is so simple, that is why it is complicated. That's why it's so complicated. It's been intriguing me since then. Then this conference came up to me and they said, okay, why don't you talk about something? And I thought about everything. There is technology, there is green versus gray, there is heritage. I was talking to somebody earlier about heritage. And then there's something which, and I was not even here, I was in UK the last couple of weeks and I was doing that's why this is a last minute entry. And I said, okay, why don't I talk about simplicity? Because that's what appeals most to me, and it was accepted. So here we are, we're going to talk about simplicity. I do not know how many people are going to get triggered by simplicity, but I feel for this subject, and I feel that it needs to be explored. I think it's a subject that needs to be explored. Let's go to the dictionary meaning of simplicity. It means freedom from complexity, intricacy or division into parts. It means absence of pretentiousness or ornament. Also means directness of expressions. Big words there for a simple term. Complexity, intricacy, pretentiousness, ornament, expressions. I completely got flummoxed when I saw the dictionary meaning of simplicity. So I said, why don't we just go and see some of the quotes, some of the understandings of some accomplished people in various fields of art, design, history, architecture, and I did some search. Vinci says, the great expressionist of Renaissance, he says simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication. So that gave me some relief. I said, okay, maybe somebody thinks something of simplicity. Einstein, the great physicist, the scientist par excellence, says everything should be as simple as possible, but no simpler. So I was more stumped. I didn't know where to go. I went next. Literature, Wilde, says life is not complex, we are complex. Life is simple. And the simple thing is the right thing. Simple words can only come from a poet, can only come from a playwright. They're complex in their own way and yet very comprehensive. I said, okay, that's some sanity. Mies, we come to what we belong to, architecture. Mies said less is more. We heard that in college, Ravi. And I don't know what it meant then. I still don't know 25 years hence what it means today. Venturi, I don't know how many of us know Venturi. I did some search on Venturi. I did not know about him much, to be honest. He said less is a bore. Venturi happens to be another 20th century US architect, for the ones who do not know. He's a 20th century architect from the US. He is supposed to be the unofficial, accepted, undisputed dean of postmodernism. Now that's something which was very, very informative for me. I went into some of his works, and I found that he has some exemplary work. But he believed, and I'm sure that since they were contemporaries, like Ravi and I are, Mies said less is more. Robert said less is a bore. And well, that's a viewpoint. Norman Hartnell, and I read this somewhere. He says, I despise simplicity. It's the negation of all that's beautiful. Hartnell happens to be a fashion designer. a big shop in the US set up in the 1950s. It's an institution in itself. And when he started working, when he started designing, he was a fashion designer for all the flamboyants. He used to dress up the Hollywood starlets. He would dress up the entire section of socialites and beautiful people out there in America. So he thought that simplicity is not it. More modern context. Let's talk to people who were born in and around the end of 20th century and 21st century. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, I've picked up just 3 quotes out of many quotes of his. Who doesn't know what he does, what he did and what he believed in. He said, design is not just what it looks like and how it feels. Design is how it works. I identify with that. I completely identify with that. But it's not so much about simplicity, it's about design, and he's trying to make it simple. He also said simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple. But it's worth it in the end, because once you get there, you can move mountains. Tough to achieve, I'm sure, but you can't just ask customers. Now I think this is a little pertaining to the previous panel discussion that we've had, which I think, as Bhavita rightly said, there were many honest discussions going on in the hall after the PD. You can't just ask customers, in our case we can read this as clients, what they want, and then try to give that to them. By the time you get it built, they'll want something new. So Steve Jobs realized that. I read into what he did, why he did what he did, and he said, if I'm going to keep catering to what my customers want, and he was talking simply in terms of something like this and many more things before this and after that, I'm sure. But he was talking about the very psyche of a designer. He was talking about the very psyche of a customer versus a designer. And I think we as architects, we as clients have to understand, both sides of the story have to understand that there is a job assigned, and there is a wish list, or there is a desire. We need to try and identify what's more important, or at least have a right balance. I think it's very important. Come back to Paul Rand. He says simplicity is not the goal. It is the byproduct of a good idea and modest expectations. I'll like to stress here on modest expectations. Expectations can be from both ends. I, as an architect, can expect myself to deliver, and you, as my client, can expect me to deliver. I think if the expectations are slightly modest, and I'm not going to say low, if they are modest, and I have a good idea, I think we can keep it simple. We can achieve our goal. I think a good design can be achieved as a byproduct by way of a creative mind and the expectations that are not bordering on the ridicule. It's very important that, and we are a creative lot, we are an insecure lot. Let me be very, very open about it. Let me be as naked about it as possible. We are an insecure lot. We were meant to be insecure, that's why we are creative, or the other way around. So we all want work, we all want clients, we all want a lot of things on our table, on our drawing boards. When a client comes and asks for designs, there is a natural tendency, and I read this. There's something beautiful. You must read this essay by Paul Rand called "The Politics of Design," where he says, and I have it here, where he says that when the client comes with a requirement, the designer, now he doesn't say which kind of designer, but he says the designer is running to make a lot of options, a lot of layouts. He puts a number of designs on the table and says, okay, now choose what you like. He says that the quantity of work, the quantity of design is not out of need. It is out of the desire to please, because the client has an expectation for me to be able to give him 5 solutions. I will go stand on my head and give him 6 solutions so that he does not go to the next person. Now that's where we're losing we are losing simplicity. That's where we are losing that byproduct that we are looking for. That's what Paul Rand believed in, and which is why he said that I'm going to be designing for what I see as the purpose of design and not for what I'm expected to do. Well, I just put some thoughts together after that. I'm just going to read them and let's see if we have something to say. Simplicity isn't just a visual style, I feel. It's not just minimalism. Minimalism is a much abused word today. It's a really, really far more used and abused than it actually is worth. So it's not just minimalism or the absence of clutter. We all know we can make it simple by just removing the clutter, but that's not all there is to it. To be truly simple, you have to go really deep and understand the essence of design. I think if I am asking you to design something as a user, you have to understand the essence of what I want you to design, so as to be able to get rid of the parts that are not essential. I read somewhere something very simple and very beautiful. It's like an onion. It's like unpeeling of the onion. So you get rid of the outer layer and then live enough to get used to what is left. And then you believe that that's enough. And then you get rid of another layer and another till you reach the core. So simplicity is really about subtracting what is obvious to you, and it's adding the meaningful. And the meaningful is the core. I think we as designers have the responsibility to understand that. Of course, as I said, this is going to be a discussion soon after I stop speaking, and that's going to be soon. And I really would like to know what you people think about it. It's about making something easier to understand. I think if we are able to make it easier for the user to understand, we've fairly achieved simplicity. The anonymous there is very political, so thank you. Any intelligent fool can make things bigger, more complex and more violent. It takes a touch of genius and a lot of courage to move in the opposite direction. It wasn't anonymous till I put it in there. So I don't want to be sued, I'm sure I don't want to be sued here. I'm going to come to Einstein back again. His quote sums up nicely the objective of design simplicity. Understand what's at the core of the experience. Now, experience is design, the experience of design. He says, understand what's at the core and make sure you don't disrupt the core of the experience. Now, it's not as simple as that. They are just two lines. Yeah, and he was Einstein, remember? We are not. So let's see what he has to go and say. He says the latter is achieved through unity. When everything is in harmony with the core, they enhance it. When things are not in harmony, they distract, which adds complexity. So the idea is to stay true to the core, to stay true to what we are designing, and not just try and go out of our way to please ourselves or our user. That's not important, to please. It should not be our fear, it should not be our insecurity, it should not be the expectations out of us that should make us design. What should make us design is our understanding of the core. And to sum it up, the aesthetics and the experience, that means that experience of design, they need to be aligned to the core. And we all say we want to make it beautiful, we want to add this, that and the other to make it aesthetic. If we want to make it aesthetic, and we have the design and its need aligned to the core, I think we pretty much have it. Of course, it's subjective, but I'm going to go back to Barcelona. And let's see what Gaudi did. He did this. A structure which has taken 130 years to build, it's going to take maybe another 130 to complete itself. But his architecture, if you see the elements everywhere, and he claims in his memoirs, in his biography, all of his architecture is based on elements from nature. Everything, if you see, and please, I urge you to go closely into Gaudi's works and read about him and see his works a little closely than these slides, which don't give you much. They are all elements that are driven out of nature, elements of nature. His buildings look like waves in the ocean. His building materials are all either steel or ceramic or stone. All the elements in his buildings are out of marine life, wildlife, everything organic. His expression is all organic. And he put together God, religion, and architecture, his passions together. And that's how he defined his architecture, as organic as it comes. So for him, ladies and gentlemen, his designs were simple because he just stayed true to the core of what he was designing. And that's how he managed to build single-handedly almost the whole city of Barcelona during those 30, 40 years of his practice before he passed away. Well, so as such, it's just to sum it up, it's about what we want to draw out of our designs, where we want to go and cater to. And if we are able to be true to what we are supposed to do, and we are, as I think I heard the word, to be, my consciousness is very, very clear about what I'm designing. So as long as that's there, I don't really think we are complicating life. We're keeping it simple. Design is so simple. That is why it is so complicated. I really wish that this could be read the other way, that design is so complicated, which is why it is not so simple. But truly, if you want to stand on your head and read it the other way around, it would, one way or the other, keep it back to this. The design really is so simple. We just tend to forget it. It is not so complicated because it's so complicated. Thank you. Thank you very much. The KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. It's so well said, you know. It's just so well said. Sorry. Any views? I was hoping for some interaction. Sorry, Kavita, you have something to say. Of course, you have something to say. Of course, you have something to say.
Yeah, given the fact that I usually always have something to say, but not this time, I really would want some simple questions for this simple presentation in not so simple circumstances. Any questions? Any questions?
I think question is not right. Any thoughts?
Okay, any
thoughts?
thoughts
Is what I was looking for. Interaction, some thoughts.
There is one there.
Yes, sir.
Very well put, sir. This is Ishiraj Sethi from Aura Art. We work on art projects with the architects and also direct consumers. And this is a debate actually we've had with architects all along, that artists by their nature create fantastic original works of art. I think but the temptation from the design world has always been that we would like to get something created for us. Very often that totally takes a simple idea into a very convoluted one. When the design consultant, the client, the client's wife, his girlfriend, and everybody starts thinking, and a poor artist is left to do a back office job of implementing a very, very not so simple idea. So I would just make a humble plea to the design space that, let the artists do what they are good at. They really are simple and nice Indian artists. We don't have to go and import art from Italy and from Indonesia. We can give the best solutions here. Let them do their job. We can give you a range to choose from. Let's not dabble with their mind and corrupt it. Thank you.
Well, I can't say for anybody else, but as I practice and I do a lot of art for my clients, and I honestly promote art in our projects, and we only buy art from Indian artists and really honor and cherish what actually adds value to our projects. So I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. Yes, Kalan.
So I'm plucking up the courage to speak from an audience, and I've never done that in my life, not even in college. So just for you. So no, it's not a question, but since you're already thinking about this, and it's wonderful that you're sharing this as well, just check up essentialism in philosophy. I think it talks about, in some sense, what you are thinking about right now, and starting from probably from Plato and Aristotle down to many other philosophers who's thought about the basic essence of things. What is it that makes a dog and a porcupine, and what can you take out of it? It still remains a dog and still remains a porcupine. So I think that essence and essentialism is something that you must explore further.
Oh yeah, of course, no doubt about it. I think it's a very, very tough thing to do. I kept reading about it. The more I researched, the more I unearthed. Einstein had so much to say about the process of achieving simplicity. It's the toughest thing to do. It's the toughest thing to do. How do you realize what is essential? Charles Correa, I'm sure, and I read about another great who said, we all steal. We all steal. So Charles didn't think otherwise. He knows that every time he puts his pencil to the paper, he's seen it somewhere, he's done it somewhere, or somebody else has done it somewhere. We've all done some things which we've seen somewhere. They are coming out of here because they relate to us.
So I'll add to that with Philip Johnson quote.
Oh yes, of course.
So you must.
No, I don't know.
I'm a whore.
But of course.
I'm a whore.
Of course. Philip Johnson said, I'm a whore. He said, I'm a whore. I cater.
think, Puran, there's one thing when you talked about modest expectations. In this forum, we shouldn't be forgetting Mahatma Gandhi when he said, there is everything in this world for every man's need, but there is not enough for every man's greed.
Desire. Yeah, that's right. That's so true. That's so true. That's so true. So I think, listen, we all feel we can design. We are assigned to design. At least a lot of us over here are assigned to design. As a role, as a life, we are assigned to design. I don't believe so, but I'm told we are supposed to design. A client comes to a name, to A, B, or C and says, okay, design. So we set out to design because we think that's our role. We all can design. But I think somewhere we forget that if we were the chosen ones to design, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility not to forget what we understand is the core of the design. And I think it's not going to be somebody else, it's not going to be the user, it's not going to be the client. The user will move on. The user will move on. Sorry, there are users in this hall. I'm not taking anybody's position away here. I am actually focusing on what my subject is. That's it. So the user will move on. He'll have many solutions from many sources. But I think what's important to us is to stay integrated, stay true to what we understand, to keep it simple. Tough, but possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Puran.
Thanks. Thank you.
I would request Mr. Sameer Das to please come on stage and give a small token of appreciation to Puran Kumar.
Thank you, Sameer. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sure. Thank you so very much. Thank you, gentlemen.